Senator Klobuchar, Senator Smith, and whoever else might be speaking here. Thanks for your reporting, Mike.
Oh, Jacob Fry.
We're here to provide an update on the safety plans and precautions that we're going to be taking for this evening. The city of Minneapolis is filing a declaration after today's shooting to encourage the judge to rule on a temporary restraining order on Monday that would grant us immediate relief and would help stop this operation that has been so harmful to the city of Minneapolis. The state of Minnesota has resulted in multiple shootings and tragic deaths. I have formally requested assistance from the National Guard to support the limited number of officers that we have in the Minneapolis Police Department. We have around 600 officers in total. Days off have been canceled. Our incredible Minneapolis police officers have been working tirelessly to do their day-to-day work, and simultaneously they're put in the middle of these chaotic situations. We will not be able to do this on our own, and so we are getting assistance from both mutual aid jurisdictions as well as the request to the governor for the National Guard, and we're appreciative of the assistance. Our community is tired. Our officers are tired. Our businesses are tired. And this additional support is necessary. And again, the chaos that we are seeing is caused directly by ICE,
Okay, that's
Border
good.
Control, and this federal administration.
That's also good. Directly calling out the administration.
Businesses safe, and the additional support will help us do that. Our community service officers are helping to deliver food to families that are in need. Community members are out there peacefully protesting, making sure that their voices are heard. They're escorting workers to their jobs. They're taking care of daycares. It has been extraordinary how people around our city have stepped up during this difficult time. And there is an incredible group of leaders, senators and members of Congress that are here with me to deliver a powerful message in just a couple of minutes. We're also working closely with our immigration task force to make sure that clear and transparent information is coordinated. We'll continue to do everything in our power to keep our neighbors safe and to stand up for our immigrant communities. Most of the protests that we've seen have remained peaceful. Let's keep it that way. Let's not counter Donald Trump's chaos with our own version of chaos here. I understand that people are angry. I'm angry. I understand that people are experiencing trauma. It makes sense. Our communities have been placed on the very front line, and this has been ongoing now for weeks. It must end. Remember, it's only our city that will suffer if there is damage or destruction that is done.
And it sucks that
The victims
Wall's resigning after this too.
with you. Our love goes out to you. I know that there is nothing that I can say right now that will ease the pain. But I hope you know that Minneapolis cares deeply for you. There are 435,000 residents that will do everything possible to stand with you. With that, I'll turn it over to Chief O'Hara, who can give more of an update on the plans for tonight.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. I'm going to provide a brief update on the events today and our plans to maintain order in the city. I recognize that this is a volatile and emotional situation, and our focus remains, as it always has been, on de-escalation, slowing things down, and maintaining peace and order in this city. The situation is stable right now, and it is peaceful, and we intend to keep it that way. After our last press update, additional residents and demonstrators gathered today, and the situation deteriorated. Local and state law enforcement
I have no idea. Right. I'll look at that later.
by a mix of protesters and also agitators who engaged in unlawful acts. Individuals began erecting barricades, throwing glass bottles, ice chunks, and at least 2 separate fires were started in the immediate vicinity. Minneapolis police had to escort firefighters so that they could safely extinguish those fires. The number one priority of our police officers is to protect life and maintain public safety for all people in our community. so given the volatility and rising public safety risks for residents, for demonstrators, and police officers, state and local law enforcement did deploy less lethal and gas munitions at that assembly in order to allow for a safe egress of law enforcement and to prevent further violence and damage. We do everything that we possibly can to de-escalate whenever possible. And the actions that were taken today were in response to a
Yeah, the police are going to be on, like,
situation.
are going to be being told, like, you absolutely cannot harm anybody. And if you do, you're on the chopping block.
And we need everyone to respect
Like, that's a nice officer right there.
property of all people in our community. In order to maintain that peace, we have established a vehicle exclusionary zone in the affected area. That zone has allowed traffic to be safely managed and has significantly reduced the risk of escalation, ensuring access for emergency vehicles, for residents of the area, and for lawful, peaceful demonstrations. This zone will be maintained by uniformed police officers of the Minneapolis Police Department, working alongside members of the Minnesota National Guard. National Guard members will be wearing fluorescent yellow safety traffic vests and will be working alongside uniformed Minneapolis police. In addition to the Minnesota State Patrol and Hennepin County Sheriff's Office that assisted the scene, the St. Paul Police, Ramsey County Sheriff's Office, and numerous Hennepin County suburban police departments are assisting with answering 911 calls in the city of Minneapolis today. The loss of human life, yet again, is a tragedy. We pray all people can recognize that. And we extend our condolences, as the mayor has said, to the loved ones of the deceased. To the people of our city, we understand that the pressure has been building for weeks. We understand the hurt and frustration that this causes. But again, if you choose to come out, if you choose to demonstrate, peacefully assemble, do so lawfully. And understand that the men and women in this uniform standing here tonight are committed first and foremost to protecting the lives of every single person in this city. We will continue to monitor the situation and provide updates as needed. Senator.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Chief, for your strong leadership during this.
And also the fact that with them like indicating like, oh, our agents will be wearing, or our guards will be wearing fluorescent jackets, and then our police officers will be wearing Minneapolis Police Department uniforms. They are trying to make it as clear to everybody who's ICE and who's a state enforcement officer, because they don't want them to be grouped together at all.
As the tragic killing this morning, as people saw it viscerally on that video, shows us they are making us less safe. With 3,000 agents, which of course includes border control, outnumbering the sworn police officers in Minneapolis and St. Paul by 3 to 1, and even larger than the 10 metropolitan police departments, this is completely out of whack, completely out of balance, and now 3 people have been shot, 2 resulting in death. 1, Renee Good, mother of 3, and now Alex Preddy, a 37-year-old Minneapolis man, a citizen, also a nurse. They both have families that love them very much. This city has been under siege. And I want to make something clear, as the mayor and the police chief are doing their job for this city, it's not just the cities. It's not just Minneapolis and St. Paul, as you'll hear from the members of Congress. It is the suburbs where kids have been lured in and abducted.
The one injured was not off the top of my head. I can get it pulled up though.
All across our state.
It was like
Rural
after
areas.
Renee
This has
Good.
gone way beyond some stated purpose of the fraud investigation or apprehending violent offenders. That's not what this is about anymore when you have 3,000 agents overwhelming sworn police officers. I took part.
Okay, Fed posting out loud. I could see like, obviously they would love it to have like a crystal knocked moment, or like what's it called? Deport, imprison, or melt ICE. Oh, for ICE. Not Crystal Knock. I'm kind of trying to remember it. The Glaywitz incident. No, that's not it. The Glaywitz incident is the Polish thing. So much for de-escalation training. I mean, ICE is not given de-escalation training. If they're ever being told, if you're ever being told ICE is giving de-escalation training, they're just lying about it. Anything that the federal administration is saying about ICE, just do not fucking trust, obviously. Reichstag fire. Hitler once, or also was teach how to act by Israel. Yeah, ICE is also directed how to act within a week or two. Yeah, I guarantee ICE is like, okay, Fed posting it like out loud. It'd be like he's saying like, I think they want a Reichstag moment, but you can't have a Reichstag moment. Who was the man shot? Yeah, I can get him up again. I had his name. They obviously want a Reichstag moment where they'll be like, oh, yeah, he was a citizen. Even if he wasn't a citizen, it doesn't matter. Alex Preddy. Donald Trump privately defended Border Patrol agent. Yeah, I think they want a Reichstag moment. Here, let me finish my thought. They wanted a Reichstag moment, but like obviously with the amount of like phones and social media and people are just watching, they're not going to get that. It would give them less excuses. The internal conversation the White House had among allies centered. President Donald Trump privately defended the Border Patrol agent who fatally shot a man DHS says was armed in Minnesota who wasn't armed. So the gunman's gun loaded and ready to go. What was that all about? The agents pivoting to a series of seemingly unrelated posts on fraud in the state. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Expressed frustration behind closed doors that his intended immigration messaging is getting lost in mid-chaos in Minnesota. Sources familiar with the discussion told CNN before Saturday's shooting, Trump has sought to personally speak out on the matter in an attempt to shift the narrative, the source says, starting with the impromptu press conference at the anniversary of his first year in office. Yeah, that restraining order will help, hopefully. I wish it could come sooner than Monday, but... Yeah, 2 citizens shot and killed by ICE agents. I mean, but like Minneapolis sending in their National Guard and the police and then making them distinctively look different than the ICE agents makes me think that they want to clearly define who is who. So people have, it's a clear messaging, like implicit messaging narrative from them. Yeah, like that's what I was saying like last week. That I could see ICE and police officers clashing a little bit, especially in this kind of environment.
By refusing to fund this agency so long as it continues to kill and terrorize Americans. That is what Senator Klobuchar and I will be working on in the United States Senate. And I just want to close by thanking so much the local law enforcement and fire departments, not only here in Minneapolis, but all across the state that have been doing everything that they could, everything that you can to keep our cities safe. I once worked in City Hall, and I know what it's like, and I am so grateful safe. Representative McCollum.
Well, we have a saying in Congress that we agree and reflect in our remarks those that have spoken before us. So I'm going to take a slightly different tact. You know, today, this morning, Saturday, we lost another life.
Undercover ICE agent got arrested by an ICE agent. That's true. Isn't this one of the speakers in that rally? I believe so. I don't remember. Regardless of what one thinks about ICE, the fact that we didn't have such a shitstorm under the Obama regarding ICE. I mean, the Obama admin. Obviously, ICE has never been good, but this is like how they were designed to work in the first place. But on top of everything, like the Obama admin, obviously, we're going to be like not great when it comes to immigration policy. We're going beyond what ICE was designed to do. I mean, this is pretty much what ICE was designed to do in the first place. Harass and attack individuals. Like this increase of it was like it was a very clear sign from the get-go that they wanted to use the ICE, or they wanted to use ICE as their own version of the brown shirts. It was pretty clear from the beginning of the admin.
How disappointed we are that the president refuses to listen.
Yeah, but they were going to expand that from the beginning of from the campaign.
Part of the bill that was on the floor was.
Well, they're allowed to as well. They're allowed to. They're being told. I don't know if you saw the leaked memo, but the ICE agents are being told to ignore. They can like just search people's houses. Yeah. Oh, the judge struck it down. That's good.
Our law enforcement does. To our law enforcement here, we appreciate you, especially those of you who've been working the extra shifts. To the school boards, to the community service volunteers, everybody out there in this community, you make us so proud to represent you in the United States Congress. We hold our head up high with how Minnesota is reacting to this.
Good evening, everyone. Thank
Sorry
you
to cut
for
her
being
off,
here. There are
but-
two different things that I'd like to discuss with you tonight. The first one being a storm that is barreling down on our country and will be impacting approximately 250 million Americans in 40 different states. We've been working together here at the FEMA headquarters and have opened our National Response Coordination Center and are working with local and state authorities to make sure that we're getting individuals and communities pre-deployed resources that they may need and also preparing them for the upcoming days, which will significantly impact them and their citizens. The Trump administration and FEMA are working closely with them to get them information,
FEMA that they
to
cut.
get them resources, and to help them be prepared and well equipped for the road ahead as we go through this next week. But before I take any questions and give more details on the storm and its impact, I do want to address the tragic situation that we saw in Minneapolis today that unfolded on the streets. It occurred with DHS law enforcement as they carried out their lawful duties to keep Americans safe in the threat of criminal illegal aliens in this country. At 9:05 a.m. Central Time, the Department of Homeland Security law enforcement officials and officers were conducting targeted operations in Minneapolis against an illegal alien whose criminal history included domestic assault with intentionally inflicting bodily harm, disorderly conduct, and driving without a valid license.
Yeah, and they'll always bring up this, by the way. Every time they're going to bring up this, they're going to bring up the fact that they were looking for the worst illegal immigrant alien of all time that you could possibly ever think of, like Hitler too. That's why we were there in the first place.
Of his fellow officers around him, an agent fired defensive shots. Medics were on the scene immediately and attempted to deliver medical aid to the subject, but he was pronounced dead at the scene.
They did not
Suspect
attempt.
also had 2 magazines with.
They did not attempt to provide medical care for him.
He also had no ID. This looks like a situation where an individual arrived at the scene to inflict maximum damage on individuals and to kill law enforcement. About hundreds of protesters then showed up at the scene. They began to obstruct and to assault law enforcement officers. We saw objects being thrown at them, including ice and other objects, and a rampant assault began, and even an HSI officer agent's finger was bitten off. Crowd control measures were deployed to bring safety to the public and to law enforcement at the scene. And once again, I want to remind everybody that this situation and this tragedy did not have to happen. Our law enforcement are doing everything that they can to protect the public. We're praying for this deceased loved one's family and friends, but we also recognize that the Minnesota governor and the Minneapolis mayor need to take a long, hard look in the mirror. They need to evaluate their rhetoric, their conversations, and their encouragement of such violence against our citizens and our law enforcement officers.
Yeah, I'm not
remind
I'm
you
not
the
surprised
governor-
that they were going to this
press
defense.
conference said that our officers were not even law enforcement, which is a lie. He's called them the Gestapo. He's encouraged residents and citizens and violent rioters to resist. He's doxed their identities, putting themselves.
I would take anything they say with a grain of salt. If the officer's finger was bit off, I would not just say that it was bit off. They were probably harassing somebody, and then they got their finger bit off because the person reacted in a way to defend themselves.
Tens of billions of dollars were stolen under his watch, and he allowed it to happen, and in some instances may have even facilitated it. In other cities and states across the country, we don't see this happen. Local, state, and officials work with us to make sure.
Yeah, altercations happen, but it's all in the responsibility of the federal government. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess, but like, this isn't going to work with anybody. Literally, this will not work with anybody. Nobody likes this rhetoric coming out of the federal government.
Happened in that city. We've had the same amount of law enforcement officers there, but a very different result because of the leadership in place. Last week, ICE did over 2,000 different operations, and we saw people be brought to justice, and the American people make.
Yeah, the agents are Jan Sixers and like Proud Boys. That's why they have their mask on all the time, to prevent their identities from being leaked.
And they make sure that they keep peace and calm while they bring criminals to justice. In Minneapolis,
Sorry.
Governor Walz and Mayor Fry, they instead choose violence. They instead choose to encourage the destruction of their city and the crime against their people. It appears that they want this lawlessness to continue. It appears that they want chaos.
Yeah,
to
they get off on
distract
this shit.
from the theft and the fraud and the corruption of their city.
Oh, we're going back to
Remind
the
you,
fraud and
this city
corruption.
has been corrupt for years with what we've seen with people that have been stealing taxpayer money, all under the leadership of Governor Walz.
She
and
speaks
Mayor
like a
Fry.
robot.
I'm asking for all the authorities in Minneapolis and the leaders to work with us. And there are two things that we have repeatedly asked the governor and the mayor to do. Number one, all we want them to do is that when they are going to release a dangerous criminal from their jails, turn them over to us so we can get them out of this country as soon as possible. Since we have been
I don't
back in
know.
the White House
With that
President
impeachment, I
Trump's
think it might
leadership, they
lead
have
to
released
somewhere.
over 490 criminals onto their streets.
Kristi Noem is not liked within the administration at all.
Safe. The second thing that we have asked the governor and the mayor to do is to help us keep people safe. Just give us backup on the streets while we do our targeted operations to get illegal criminals out of our country, and then we wouldn't have to be there facing these types of situations that we face with violent rioters who are impacting and attacking our law enforcement officers. That's all. Those are the two requests that we've asked of them. We've asked them to help us do that so that we can continue to see success in Minneapolis like we see in so many other cities and communities across the country. But they have refused because they want us talking about attacking law enforcement officers instead of the fraud
Kristi
and the
Dog
theft
Killer
that
Noem.
they
Yep.
facilitated in Minnesota. One thing I'd like to do before I take your questions on that situation on the storm is give you a few facts about the storm and what we're facing here in the coming days. This storm is
It's interesting to me that she keeps on trying to pivot back to the storm and not to try to get like questions or more information out on the shooting.
for days. Power outages, road closures, and other impacts have already started to impact the Midwest, the South, and the East Coast. The most important thing that people can do across this country is to please stay off the roads, to stay home when possible, unless you absolutely have to be out and about. That will not only ensure that you and your family are safe.
Answer questions without answering them. Yeah.
Chief, I think we've only had 3 homicides in the city this year. Is that right? 2 of them, ICE. 3 homicides.
She's trying to distract and gain whatever possible goodwill she can. Yeah.
So,
And I'm
what we're asking for is stop.
the thing is like they're gonna be doubling down on this, but then I don't know why they've already doubled down on this before and then completely walked it back.
Very difficult for us to do our jobs in the city as well as we need to do them, and we need to do regular day law enforcement as well. Yes. 8 to 5 is
search warrant this morning. Do you think they'll abide by a court order from a federal judge?
They
Sorry,
have
let's
to
move aside
abide.
Mr.
So the question is, they
Protesters.
defied a search warrant this morning. Will they abide by a court order by a federal judge? Hey, everybody listen to that question. The question is, will this administration abide by a court order?
No.
These are the underpinnings of our democracy, of our republic, and of this Constitution.
Georgia, North Carolina, Maryland, Arkansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi,
basic damage control,
Indiana,
yeah.
and West Virginia. I'm
But
sure
she's
there will be
not
more
liked.
coming, and we
She's
are
not
turning
liked
those
in the
around
administration.
immediately to
Trump
make
does
sure
not
that
like
states
Kristi
have
Noem.
the resources from the federal government that they've requested. I have spoken several times on conference calls, but also called personally governors and local leaders to facilitate the partnership that we need to help keep this federal response streamlined with their state responses. The Department of Homeland Security, FEMA, CISA, our cybersecurity team focused on the electrical grid and our critical infrastructure. The Coast Guard and our other federal partners are all embedded in state operation centers across the country. Governors remain in the lead on these responses, and we are continuously talking to them to see what they need to continue to take care of their citizens and make sure that people are safe. I activated the National Response Coordination Center, which is where you are right now, 2 days ago, and we are monitoring the storm and coordinating federal support for the affected areas. At my direction, FEMA has already pre-positioned commodities in many locations across the country. We've embedded partners in state emergency operations centers, and we've deployed IMAT teams, incident management assistant teams, with dozens more ready to deploy at any moment, besides those that have already been pre-positioned. We have dozens of urban search and rescue teams that are ready to go out and to save lives in partnership with our local and state authorities should that become necessary.
All right, I'm going to wait for her to get to actual questions. We'll go back to this one.
It's about a political narrative, and that narrative is making people less safe.
A number of us have spent the last few weeks making our views clear, standing our ground, but also reaching out to this administration, to Republican leaders, to try to get them to understand how dangerous this is, how unsafe this is. I met with chiefs from across the metropolitan area. Chief O'Hara was on this call, and they have been reaching out, some of them publicly, some of them behind closed doors. The business community has been reaching out. I have been personally reaching out to the President's Chief of Staff and spoken with her. We have done this day after day after day, so we're not just shutting out any discussions, but we've been explaining to them, and I know the governor has, how dangerous this situation is. And I specifically told people that someone else was going to die. I said this a few days ago. I said it might be by a car, it might be by some other way. And it just seems like you hope that they're going to de-escalate, and then they keep escalating it up. Right now, I hope they're listening, and I mostly hope that our Republican colleagues are listening.
I mean, they were obviously the veil of, oh, we're going to deport people. That was a lie from the get-go. I wanted to make it clear. They were lying from the get-go. They always wanted to get to this point where ICE officers were harassing and attacking people so they could get away with whatever they wanted. I think the difference here between this and like Nazi Germany is the fact that we have cell phones recording everything.
He is a bully. He does not respond to people who appease him. He responds much better to strength than he does to weakness. And I think what we have seen in this state, I am so proud of it. We have seen a combination of strength and peacefulness.
Yeah, they always knew it was unfeasible numbers.
I believe that that is our best path forward for trying to convince this administration that the path that they are on is dangerous to public safety, and it is a losing path that they must abandon.
What's your message to Minnesotans who are just wondering when this
Individual who was in this country illegally and had a criminal conviction for domestic assault with intent to do bodily harm and other convictions as well. This individual went and impeded their law enforcement operations, attacked those officers, had a weapon on him and dozens of rounds of ammunition, wishing to inflict harm on these officers, coming brandishing like that and impeding their work that they were doing. We'll continue to allow. That is a different incident that happened at the same situation after the tragedy unfolded. But yes, that's the kind of assaults and violence that our law enforcement officers are facing out in the streets, and that the local leaders are encouraging. Remember what Mayor
Our ICE
Frye has
officers
said.
are getting their fingers bit off, so we're gonna shoot and kill people.
And had a presence in that city for years. We are there to enforce the law and to make sure that the public is safe. Just since we have been there, we have arrested thousands of individuals that have criminal convictions and are in this country illegally and gotten them off the streets of Minneapolis. The two things that we've asked the mayor and the governor for is that they would partner with us, and before they let somebody dangerous out of their jails, that they would let us know so we can deport them out of our country. I do not know why they continue to choose the side of lawbreakers, criminals, murderers, and rapists over the citizens of Minneapolis. And this situation that we have today is a tragedy.
Riot police exist and they don't shoot people in the head because people are throwing bottles at them. I mean, yeah, like I keep saying, like trained police would never do this. Even though I'm not a fan of the police, they would never do this. They would never do this.
When Minneapolis burned in 2020. They facilitated it, they encouraged it, and they saw the destruction, and we all watched the destruction of that city back then. It doesn't have to happen again.
Minneapolis was so destroyed that no buildings are standing.
Distract from the corruption that they have facilitated in fraud and theft from the American taxpayers. Tens of billions of dollars they have been funneled into criminal pockets and stolen from vulnerable people that needed these programs to take care of their children, to go out and provide services to individuals that were developmentally
Yeah, I'm not interested in her talking, genuinely. I'm not interested anymore in her talking. Like, it's what I figured the administration would say.
On a blue city in a blue state. That's not how America works. Other countries.
She's not going to say anything new.
We don't. And so no matter your background or your ideology, this should be of deep concern for you no matter what town you're in America. Because your town could be next. Your liberties, your freedoms could be sacrificed because of what this administration is doing.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Ending. I know our end game, and our end game is to keep Minnesota safe. And so we are asking that ICE get off of our streets and out of our state. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. You have a follow-up?
Yeah.
live in their communities. And this mayor and this governor have doxed them. They have allowed people to threaten them and their
Wow,
families
saying that they
and
doxed them is
expose their
insane.
identities in order to instill fear and violence, and that's not what America is about. We're going to continue to tell the truth about Minnesota, Minneapolis, what happened here, the theft over the last many years that these leaders have facilitated, and we're going to continue to do our work to get to the bottom of the investigations. And the one question you should be asking is the mayor, the governor, and the attorney general have all confirmed that they have been subpoenaed to come in front of a criminal federal grand jury. So they are covering up and are being in a part of a system where they are going to be brought to justice for anything that they had to do with this investigation. They have confirmed they've been subpoenaed, and they will be in front of a grand jury to get that criminal investigation unfolding and to disclose the kind of fraud that they have allowed to happen. Yes.
The White House has labeled the man who was killed in Minnesota as a domestic terrorist. Is that something you agree with? And have you seen any evidence to
When you
back up that
perpetuate violence against a government because of ideological reasons and for reasons to resist and perpetuate violence, that is the
Journalist mentioned the
definition
guy's
of
named
domestic
Ross.
terrorism.
She
This
accused the
individual
journalist
who
of doxing
came
the agent with his name.
weapons and
What the fuck?
ammunition to stop
Yeah,
the law
complete. I mean,
enforcement
obviously
operation of federal
disingenuous.
Law enforcement officers committed an act of domestic terrorism. That's the facts.
Where's the evidence of his ideology?
Yes.
Drew Evans, superintendent of Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, had said during a news conference today that when federal agents blocked his agency from the shooting scene, when they went, got a judicial warrant, they returned, they were still blocked. Why were they
We have
blocked?
asked these state officials to help partner with us on law enforcement operations for months. Ever since President Trump came into the White House, we've asked them for their partnership to stand alongside of us so we could do targeted operations against criminal illegal aliens and to help us make their streets safer. They have refused over and over and over again, and they have
His name was
perpetuated
public
a
knowledge for a
narrative that is
while.
absolutely false. And our federal law enforcement officers will continue to do their work, and they'll do that to make America safe again.
Secretary Nelson.
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry, this is the second DHS law enforcement operation shooting that's happened this year. There was another incident in Portland. 5 people have also died in immigration detention so far this year. Why is immigration enforcement becoming so deadly under your tenure?
Immigration enforcement is exactly what the American people asked for. When we had a Democrat administration in the White House that facilitated an invasion of millions of people over our
I mean, she's not wrong.
and let people come into this country that were completely unvetted. We know for a fact that
People
we had
did ask
hundreds,
for
if
this
not
by voting for
thousands of
Trump.
terrorists, suspected terrorists, criminal organizations and gangs that came in and have been committing criminal activities against American citizens for years now, that the American people said enough is enough. We want them out of our country. We want them brought to justice. And they trusted President Trump to go out there and to make America safe again. It is absolutely false to say that there's more incidents with our law enforcement than there was in history before. In fact, our accuracy and our operations are being conducted in a manner that is historic for accuracy and taking care of people and doing so safely. So the narrative with the press that they've perpetuated that we have more individuals that have been jeopardized or that our detention centers are is absolutely false. Our detention standards and the people that are being taken care of there are at the
No,
highest level they've ever
not
been.
not
They
in past.
exceed
I mean, yeah, I mean that's just normal. U.S. border is one of the strictest borders in the world. A majority of illegal entries are visa overstays, and like, who fucking cares?
We've seen some reports about witnesses being taken to the Whipple Federal Building in Minneapolis. Could you explain why the witnesses of the shooting this morning have been taken to that building?
The witnesses to are you talking about the ones that have been detained that are illegal aliens?
No, the witnesses, I think, to the event in Minneapolis.
I won't speak to the investigation and the details, and those will continue to unfold, but I do know that we're continuing to follow the same protocols that we always have.
Secretary, no.
Was there a question back here on the storm?
Does anyone have a question on this?
Wow, question on the storm. Very clear.
Secretary, no.
Yes.
If these are targeted arrests, why are these immigration agents going after civilian protests out of their way? And second,
This individual impeded the law enforcement officers and attacked them.
It's not even
Facts
true.
As they unfolded on the street today.
Yeah.
We were doing a targeted operation against an illegal criminal, and this individual came with a weapon and dozens of rounds of ammunition and attacked them. And these agents took action to defend their lives and to defend the lives of the people around them and acted according to their training. And we will continue to let this process go forward and not allow people like Governor Walz and Mayor Frey to lie about what actually unfolded on that street. Now they have deemed this situation an unlawful assembly, and these leaders aren't even cleaning up the situation that they have as far as the violent riots that we see unfolding in Minneapolis right now. They need to be strong, take action, protect their citizens, and partner with us to go after these criminals that perpetuate violence and to keep our law enforcement officers safe. Let's all be grateful for people who take an oath every day and they go out to enforce the laws. That is their job, is to enforce the laws and to make sure that there is consequences for breaking the law in this country and that it applies equally to everybody. That is what they do. They do it every day. They do thousands of operations every single week.
But at the same
and
time, they
do
have
it with
immunity.
excellence. Don't let political corrupt leaders who are just trying to cover up their theft of American taxpayer dollars try to distract you from the facts of the situation. One more question, right here.
Governor Tim Walz said he told Susie Wiles that Minnesota would take the lead on this investigation. Are you working with local law enforcement on the investigation?
This is the same protocol we'll always follow. Who would trust Governor Walz at this point? The man has stood up and encouraged resistance. He has refused to partner with us. He's sacrificed his citizens' safety and their well-being by choosing the side of people who break the law and who steal money and who perpetuate violence. He has chosen all of that and backed an administration previously that allowed an invasion of our country. We need to partner with people who truly understand that the law is the law, and in the United States, we will keep people safe. Thank you. Last question.
Closer to invoking the Insurrection Act?
The president will use every tool that he needs to follow through on his promises to the American people. I'm proud to work for a president that wants to keep people safe, and he recognizes that political individuals like Governor Walz and Mayor Frey need to be met head on with recognizing that we're not going to allow them to distract us from what they've facilitated for corruption in their state. We're going to treat Minneapolis exactly the way that we have treated every other city across this country as far as helping to make those streets safe. Remember, we have other cities with Democrat mayors, Republican mayors that we worked well with together. We've driven down the crime rates, we've driven down the murder rates, we have continued to keep people safe, and we have stopped hundreds of millions of lethal doses of drugs from killing our.
I mean, they will always be selective with where they put either of those organizations. So this is an accidental or impartial. Yeah, it's not.
To the streets is give them to us so we can get them out of our country. The second thing is out of our country. The second thing is just keep people safe. Work with us so that we can go get these criminals and get out of there and not have to worry about our law enforcement officers getting attacked by individuals with guns and ammunition and weapons and assaulting and doxing them and their families. We'll continue to do all that we can. We also want to continue to make sure that everybody recognizes this storm is
back to the storm.
It's the largest storm that we've seen impact the most states and this big of a population in possibly decades. So we want everybody to recognize the seriousness of it. Please stay home with your family. We will continue to give you announcements. We'll continue to work with your governors to get the resources that you need. Go to our website, ready.gov, and get a list of recommendations from us, but continue to pay attention to your local officials, and we'll continue to have conversations with every one of your emergency management directors and your governors to make sure that they're supported throughout this process. Again, it's going to be very, very cold, so we'd encourage everybody to stock up on fuel, stock up on food, and we will get through this together. With that, thank you, and we'll talk again.
I'm not surprised that she was just completely deflecting the entire time. Minnesota Rep to Nome, have your officers suit up and put on their body cameras just like ours, which is not going to happen. I would say, I don't think we're at the breaking point just yet. I think we are, maybe. We are at this point of where people are getting pretty fucking fed up with this all. And I think what's going to end up happening is, and I can't say whether I want it or not, but I think ICE and the National Guard are going to clash, at the very least. They will definitely clash in a way that will be harmful to many people. And I hope everybody in Minneapolis just stays safe for now. I mean, just like completely psychotic press conference. I mean, it was very, very, very blatant how much she did not want to talk about the shooting because they only have one narrative and they're just going to try and stick to it. But they already walked back to the one about Renee Good. So we will see what happens.